Hey everyone, quick tutorial on how to add a flatbed to a Greenlight pickup. This is actually the first, or one of the first pickups I've ever really done anything with, so this is kind of new to me and it really wasn't hard. So if you are a beginner, probably a great place to start because one, Greenlight pickups are cheap, let's face it. I mean, sure, there's a whole bunch of different ones and this one has a whole bunch of branding on it and I think I gave like $6 or $7 for it at a toy show. And it was new in the package, so I know you can get them for that same price. And this bed right now I have on sale in my store for $5. There's 6 different varieties of this, and like I said, they're $5. So you really can't make a mistake on this unless you just decide not to try. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the camera around, and I'll just briefly, kind of down and dirty, teach you how I put this on in about 20 minutes. Okay, so let's get going. Like I said before, this is a great project to get going with. Greenlight trucks are easy to get into because they're fairly economical. And these beds right now that I have are $5. And the reason for that is there's just some light detail that I'm having added here that didn't print, and then just gonna make these cabinets a bit more defined. But really, as you can see, it did turn out pretty good. You do have print lines in there, can't help that. That's the way it is on these. But anyhow, that's the way it looks when it's painted. So all in all, they're still a nice bed, but they're not as good as I want. So yeah, that's what, anyways, $5. And both of these beds will fit this. This is the exact bed you see here. And there's the part numbers. They're both 9 foot. The only difference on these two beds is one has a taller headache rack than the other. Right there, that's it. And all of the measurements on these are listed on the website. So Rockin H Farm Toys if you want to buy one of those. Okay, how are we going to do this? We're going to drill out this rivet here and this one. Well, that's unusual. Always during a video, your parts just sometimes don't work right. Okay, well, we'll just wiggle that loose. Okay, this is a piece of plastic and out it comes. That is done. Now all you have to do is cut the bed off. You can use a Dremel, a bandsaw, or whatever you happen to have. You could use a handsaw, doesn't matter. Okay, how did we go about this? All right, we're gonna set that off to the side for just a moment, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing there, and then I'll come back and it will be done. Okay, to get this done, I'm using my tire tool. You can buy these in my store as well. Pop that wheel off. And now we're ready to go ahead and prepare this for the bed. You're gonna have to cut this off, and you don't have to cut it, you know, super clean or smooth, but you do need to get it cut off. And then we also need to cut back here, and I'll show you on the finished model right there. So I cut right behind this bumper assembly and the hitch, and it's not even a straight cut. I just needed it off so this bed will fit flush. So if you don't do that, here's what you're gonna get. That's not gonna work. That's gonna look dumb. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'll cut these and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, here we are. Let's take a look at what we did. You can see here that the back is cut off. This may or may not pop out. You can glue that back in as you wish. You see this nice rough cut here. I'm gonna just take some color and cover that up. It isn't entirely necessary because the bed's gonna cover that anyway, especially if you put it up there nice and snug like so. So do as you wish here. So we're basically done with this for now. I'll set that there. But here's what I really want to show you. So you can see I cut off quite a bit of diecast here, right? So we have those fender wells. Those are cut off. We have a couple of pieces of diecast here and here that are cut off. And all that's to make room for our bed. And you can see all those parts here, and then we cut off the hitch. You can see right behind the bumper here, that bumper's plastic, and then you have your fifth or your hitch there, and all of that is cut off. It's not even necessarily a straight cut altogether, but it's going to get the job done. And then we have the bed. So you can discard this or do what you want with that. This, like I said before, is a piece of plastic. That insert you can do with whatever you wish. And we're basically ready to start assembly here. So let's get to it. Okay, let's start assembly. We're gonna go ahead and put our axle back in. And I did cut this just a little uneven, so I went to my sander and just sanded this smooth just to make it all the same height. And if you are a bit better with the bandsaw, or if you have a more precise way of cutting, you may not need to do that, but I did here. I am ready to put this cab on, and I put a little bit of glue right there. You can see I got a little carried away with my Instaset. Holy smokes, that's a lot. I'm going to test fit this before we go ahead and put that on, just to make sure I like the way it fits, and we are good there. So now we can use a little bit of my favorite glue. And we're going to go here in this hole because there is a corresponding peg. We'll just go around that post, goober some up in there, and voila, our cab is on. Now you can go ahead and take your fancy dancy paint pen if you like, and give that some color if it makes you happy. So you can do that there if you need to. Like I said before, if you don't have a paint pen, you don't want to go out and buy one, don't worry about it. Your bed will cover this up. And this paint's not sticking there very well anyway, or at least not on this one. Okay, looks like we lost a mirror in the process. We'll save that for a minute later. Now we are going to test fit our bed and see how we like it. Now you can see, okay, we are going to dry fit our bed on there and make sure it fits the way we want, and we got the spacings correct. You can see that that is not level, so we are going to raise that up with a shim. Let's take a look at that. I kind of like the way this is coming together. So you have choices actually. You can either put a shim underneath there to get the spacing over that axle that you want, or you can sand a little bit off the front of this bed here, and that will lower it. Maybe you don't want as much gap over that rear axle as I have there. I'm going to just go ahead and use my shim and call it a good day there. And we'll get going on that. So I'm going to just start with some random stuff here. This is a piece of HO scale diamond plate. Let's see if that's enough. And that is not, so we're going to go ahead with another one. Let's see what else we got in my box of tricks. We have some other stuff here. We'll just go ahead and cut a piece of this off and see what we get. There, that's not so bad, is it? Maybe just a little bit more on the rear end. So let's see what happens if we put one right back there. Will that get us to level? And that does it right there. Now that is quite a bit of space over that rear axle. So again, just know that you have choices. You can take some off the front, you can use shims, or do both. It's entirely up to you. For this project though, and for the demonstration, we're just going to go ahead and do something really quick. And one other word of caution. What you're seeing here is a basic tutorial on this truck. You know, other pickups are going to behave differently. So a Chevrolet diecast model might be different than the Ford versus the Dodge, etc., etc. So there we go. That looks pretty level over that axle, and this truck is dang near close. All we have to do now is paint this bed, and it's basically ready to go on. You can, of course, use any other detail that you want. You can come in here and trim up all the plastic. You can use color on the plastic to make it so you don't see it back here. So you can see it through the side there, that's white. You could color this gray or black or whatever color you wanted. You could actually put it on straight, unlike I did. There we go. Yeah, you can put it on straight to begin with. That'll help a lot. So you do have lots and lots of flexibility here to make this the kind of truck that you want. You can go ahead and put your welder and other accessories on there, and you're basically done, and you have a pickup that looks like this. So you can even see here between these two, this bed, which has the taller headache rack,
went on just a little bit differently than this bed with the shorter headache rack. So you can see the difference between the two, very obvious now. But anyways, I hope that inspires you to at least give this a try. Again, super economical. If you're just a beginner and you want to give this a go, you can buy these beds while supplies last, by the way, for $5 in my store, rockinhfarmtoys.com, or you can go buy someone else's bed and use it. But that'll at least get you in the ballpark, get you where you need to be, so you can make your own model. Go get them.